Good afternoon. I'm Kelly Moore, the Director of Public Information for Horry County Government. Today we are holding a virtual briefing to update our community on continuing Horry County government operations in response to the impacts of the novel coronavirus COVID-19 within our community. We will have a series of speakers today, including Horry County Council Chairman Johnny Gardner, Horry County Sheriff's Office Chief Tom Fox, Deputy Chief of Police Lance Winburn, Chief of Fire Rescue Joseph Tanner, and Assistant County Administrator for Public Safety Randy Webster. In addition, Director of Airports Scott Van Moss and Director of 911 Renee Hardwick will be available for media questions following the briefing. I want to thank our interpreter, Leslie Klepak, for being with us today. We do ask anyone who plans to broadcast this footage to keep her in the frame. Just like a typical press briefing, we will take questions at the end from members of the media. We will take a short break during this briefing to allow time for our media partners to ask questions. Media members are reminded to text your questions to Michaela Moskov in the Public Information Office. At this point, I will turn it over to Horry County Council Chairman Johnny Gardner.
Thank you, Kelly, and thank you, Leslie, for coming down here to help us with this. Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for tuning in for our weekly update on the County Council or County's response to this COVID-19 pandemic. I'm going to make two comments and I'm going to turn it over to the experts. My comments are, welcome back and use good judgment. Welcome back. Horry County Council wants the citizens, the residents, the tourists, the businesses, and everybody here to move forward with opening up and moving forward and making a good business here, doing it as quickly as possible, but doing it as safely as possible. Earlier today, the county state of emergency expired at noon. Prior to that, County Council took appropriate action to make sure that the county could move forward in opening up and doing the things that they need to do as quickly as possible, but again, as safely as possible. Now, county businesses have been open and running the whole time. We've been mission ready the whole time, but we've been doing it without access by the public to the county buildings. So starting on Monday, we're going to open up the county buildings for the public to have access to them. It's going to be limited, and we're going to have to do some things to make sure that we're doing it safely. For example, in the lobby areas, there'll be only a certain amount of people are allowed in at the time for social distancing purposes. We're going to have to wear a face mask at appropriate times, just basically using good judgment. Those are some things we're doing. You know, we're still able to operate online. We are still suspending the transactional fees to accommodate the public, to encourage them to do that. And if you want to do that, that's still an option for you, and we would encourage you to do that. But if you want to come downtown, we welcome you. We're going to get through this. It might have a few kinks to work out, so we'd ask you to be flexible and be patient. We will, but we'll get it done. All right, now, the other part is about using good judgment. I believe that the reason we've moved so far here is that we've been using good judgment. So maybe I should have said continue to use good judgment. Horry County, by and large, has been doing the things that they need to be doing, the social distancing, the washing of their hands, and just using good judgment as we go about the business of what we're doing. So the most important thing that I can say to you today is I don't want anybody to have a false sense of security, to think that everything is over, that we're past this and go out and get infected or make this thing worse for other people. So continue to move forward, but do it safely. Continue to do it. It's a personal responsibility. So each person continue to do their fair share to make it better for the county. And that's what Horry County is famous for. So we'll get through this. We have so far. We've seen a light at the tunnel. Now we're moving through it and we're coming out of the tunnel. And we'll just get there, but let's don't get there too quickly. Let's be safe as we go. So now I'd like to turn it over to Chief Tom Fox from the Sheriff's Office.
Good afternoon, everyone. The Horry County Sheriff's Office is still under normal operations and staffing. For the courthouse, we're planning on assisting with the soft opening on Monday as services start to open up on a limited basis. Our staff will also be assisting. Deputies will be in the South Strand, Little River, and Myrtle Beach remote county offices to assist their staff. with their limited operation opening. We just ask that the public have patience. We're going to implement an automated scheduling system that you'll have to follow in order to come in to have contact with people in the administrative building and the judicial center. So we ask for your patience. I think everybody through this crisis has been patient, and we ask for your continued patience. At the detention center, we're still in the process of doing remote guilty pleas. We did some yesterday, and we're maintaining our numbers around 520 to 530, which has been great for us and has enabled us to do some things we normally don't have. We have no new cases at the detention center for anything for COVID-19. No inmates have tested positive, but we recently, 4 weeks ago, we had an officer test positive, and under our protocols with DHEC and CDC, we retested it, and he retested positive again and remains out for 2 more weeks. And at the end of those 2 weeks, he'll be tested again. He'll be tested twice before he's allowed to come back into service. Other than that, we just ask for your patience. I echo the comments of our chairman. We're going to get through this together. As we look at our new freedoms, we must remember that freedom has never been free. So let's not go out there and create things that's going to cause this epidemic to spread or cause us to close down again. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon. The Horry County Police Department will increase its services on Monday. We will open our 4 precinct locations for walk-in service once again. Those services will be altered just a little bit. We ask that you bear with us during this time. We're going to ask that folks that walk into the precincts for different services to wear a mask. If you don't have a mask, we'll provide one for you. We're going to limit our occupancy in our lobbies to 2 folks. So at some point, if things get busy, we may get a phone number from you and ask you to step outside so we can phone you later and let you know when you can come in to get that service. We're not going to resume fingerprinting at this time, the courtesy fingerprinting that we do for folks for obvious reasons. That's a very close process that requires contact between our officers and you folks. So that's probably another few weeks out, but we'll resume that as soon as possible. We ask that you bear with us, be patient with us, like the others have said. We encourage online reporting, like a lot of you have been doing. There are 14 categories that allow you to go online and report things from the comfort of your home. We certainly encourage you to do that, but if you feel the need to come to our walk-in precincts that are open again, we'll gladly serve you in that capacity. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you again for tuning in. First, I want to say thank you for your patience as we work through this pandemic over the last couple months. It's a new normal for everyone, and please have patience with us moving forward as we begin to open things back up to everyone coming into our fire stations and to our county buildings and our administrative offices. We're continuing to progress our responses as we normally have been doing this whole time. Again, we're in different protective gear as we go there. You've also seen a social media post where we were given some 3D printer masks from the Kimball Library at Coastal Carolina University. We thank them for that. So far, they've given us about 200 masks, and we really do appreciate our face shields. I'm sorry, not masks, to help our responders. So we really appreciate their work for that. Our call volume is beginning to increase, which is typical for this time of year. But our COVID calls have decreased, and those as we get every day. We're still comfortable with our PPE that we have in stock, and we'll continue moving forward. We're still asking for your cooperation in physical distancing, washing your hands, and checking in, helping your neighbors as we continue to move through here. So welcome back to working with us, and as we open up our buildings as well too. So at this time, we will take a 2-minute break for you to submit your questions. Thank you very much.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. Randy Webster, Assistant County Administrator for Public Safety. Just once again, on behalf of council and the chairman and the administrator and others, that we just so much appreciate the employees and what they've done to get through this and continue to do and make adjustments and just continue to be mission ready as asked by council to do. And I'm very proud of the work they've done and continue to do and the modifications that we will continue to make throughout this process as we open up on Monday. There will be some adjustments on our staff as well as those of you who choose to come in and visit and conduct business that way. As has been stated before, we continue to encourage online transactions as much as possible, but we're certainly happy to be able to serve in the capacities that we need to get the missions taken care of for all the folks that need service in Horry County. I would encourage, though, to reach out if you know which department you're going to. If you can, reach out ahead of time, just to make sure that they're where you're coming. It would just be a little more easier, and see if there's any other specific restrictions in place. Some departments will be able to be a little more less restrictive than others, just depending on what the purpose of the department is for. We do know for sure that the libraries will be opening on Monday, but the museum and the farm will not, and the rec centers will not. We still need to work through some issues to get those ready for the public. But that is on our radar to make sure we can do it as quickly and safely as possible. At this point, open up for any questions.
The Sun News asks, are there any concerns that the regular procurement process will hinder Horry County's ability to get PPE?
Thank you for the question. We'll work through that as best we can to make sure that we have the supplies in place that we need to make sure our employees are able to function safely. So we'll work through that.
WBTW asks, does Chief Tanner have an estimate on numbers of COVID calls?
I'll ask Chief Tanner to respond to that question.
Thank you for the question. We were averaging at the height of 25 plus calls a day. And remember, these were people who were symptomatic, not necessarily positive. Now we're down below 20, 15, 16 a day. That's where we are now.
Okay.
WBTW asks, are there Horry County Police Department or fire rescue employees that have tested positive?
To the best of our knowledge, we have not had any additional positive COVID tests from those departments.
WBTW asks, since the state of emergency expired, does this change how the county gets federal funding in regards to COVID?
Not having the declaration of emergency does not impact the fact that we'll still get reimbursed from FEMA or other federal departments in the process. That's initially important up front to establish the emergency. But in any normal situation, such as Hurricane Florence and the flooding, we typically do not have to extend that declaration of emergency beyond the needs of that disaster to get the funding. And it won't be the case this time either.
WBTW asks, does Scott have an estimate of travelers for MYR for April?
I would ask Director Van Mops to respond to that question.
Thank you. We should be coming out with the numbers over the next week. It's still a little bit early to publish that as of yet. Thanks.
The Horry Independent asks, when will recreation centers, libraries, and the museum reopen to the public?
So libraries will open on Monday as the other county staffs continue as we roll out with the pandemic plan that we have in place. And one thing, just make sure everybody understood, we never closed all the county facilities. It's been open and doing in different formats as best we could. Libraries will open up their facilities. They have been doing kind of a curb-like service with books and things like that over the last week or so. As far as rec centers and museums, we'll be following the governor's guidelines as well as CDC and DHEC guidelines to make sure that we can have those facilities ready, open, and safe to conduct business. But moving forward, there will still be restrictions in place, and we may not be able to offer all the same activities we've had in the past, especially at the rec centers. But that's still a work in progress, and will be until we get a more understanding of the COVID-19 and all the issues that we face with that.
No further questions at this time.
All right, thank you very much.